The governor's office already passed. 7 of them have already passed out of the Senate. That's 8, and 4 of them are on the calendar, and 3 of them I'm going to pass the House bills. Most time we have a companion bill come from the House, and so I'm going to pass 3 of the bills that I've got are going to be House bills, but I'm going to get my bills. So I'm probably going to wind up passing out of 20, probably 8 to 10, which will be pretty good. Sales tax on food, I've asked them to put that on the calendar. I think we'll get that out of the Senate. I don't know if the House will be acceptable to that or not, but we'll work that when we get there. The right to work bill is on the calendar. It's been up for a vote. That's a constitutional amendment that requires to be in our Constitution. I have some opposition to that bill, but I think if we can get that through the window, I think we can pass that bill. The speaker is for that bill downstairs. He's already expressed his appreciation for that bill. My number 1 bill is my replacing tablets with textbooks with tablets. That bill is my number 1 bill. That's a $100 million bond issue and begin to replace textbooks with a tablet or a laptop in all the schools. And that bill is in position to pass, and we worked for about 2 years on that bill. So that's my number 1 priority bill.
How much possibilities are you looking for?
It has a very good chance of possible passing, and we've worked that bill for 2 years now, and we have a lot of support for that concept, and that's our number 1 priority right now.
Is there any other states who are using the tablets in school?
We have some states that have tried to do it, started the process. We'd be one of the first ones to definitely go with the process that we put into place. Utah did this, but what Utah did, they just bought laptops and delivered them to the schools. They didn't do any infrastructure, they didn't do any training. So I talked to their senator out there who passed the bill, and we learned a good lesson. We got to make sure that the school has the right infrastructure to support wireless and a tablet or a laptop. And the second is we've got to make sure that the teachers are trained in how to go this new method of digital teaching and digital textbooks and digital learning. So we got to have infrastructure, train teachers, and then we give them the instrument.
So if the bill passed, then how long does it going to take to?
Well, it would take each system would have to determine at what phase they are. Some already have infrastructure. Some of them already have infrastructure, and they have trained teachers. And so they're just waiting on the instruments. So some systems will be ahead of others, but hopefully over a 4-year period we will be able to replace textbooks and save about $50 million a year.
How do you collect the money from?
How do we pay the money back?
Yes, sir.
Today we spend $50 million every year for textbooks. So no longer will we have to spend $50 million for textbooks. We'll be able to take that money and pay off a bond issue, which is about $6 million a year over 20 years. So we could eventually save $15 to $20 million a year and not having to buy textbooks and letting them use digital learning, because you can buy an online textbook for about 25 cents on the dollar.
The state of Alabama is already the right at work state. But how come you started?
Well, when I was in Korea, when we made a trip to Korea 2 years ago, we met with a number of business leaders over there who was always concerned with the labor union aspect of the United States. And we assured them that Alabama was a right to work state, and it's in our law, and we don't see any possibility of that changing in the future. But what happened is, if government changes in Alabama, and government's always changing, if you had a different climate of legislatures, they might repeal the law. So we said, well, let's go a little step further. Let's put it in our Constitution, which the only way you repeal it by a majority vote of the people. They'd have to pass a constitutional amendment to take it out. And so this gives us more of assurance, and it just assures everybody that Alabama will remain a right-to-work state. And that's why we've come up with that. And that gave a lot of the Korean industrial leaders we were meeting with a sense of satisfaction that Alabama is serious about being right to work and remaining right to work. And so that's why we came back with the concept of putting it in our Constitution. We've talked to the National Right to Work people, and they support this concept. They just want to make sure that once it's on the ballot, we have enough resources. We'd hate to put it on the ballot and it get voted down. But we want to make sure that once it goes on the ballot, we have the resources to go out and defend it at the poll and get it voted on. And I think that will happen. Well, there are very few in Alabama.
Yes, it is.
Very few, you know, and I think a good sign was that when the automobile workers in Tennessee voted, the Volkswagen people voted down the union. There's been some attempts, you know, at Mercedes and other places, but we feel very comfortable that the automobile industry that's here pay their workers well and treat their workers well, and there's no advantage to being a union, and therefore we think that the unions will not gain a foothold in this state. And if we can get it in our Constitution, I think it just sends another message out there that Alabama is serious about being a right-to-work state.
Oh, okay.
Well, it's terrific with Hyundai here in Montgomery, and with Kia, and with Kia over just across the line in Georgia, and with all the tier 1s and tier 2s that we have in this state, it's been a very vital part of our economic growth that we've enjoyed in this state. I would hate to think of where we'd be job-wise if we did not have Hyundai and Kia here with the jobs they're providing, especially in the corridor from the Grange, West Point, down through Valley and Opelika, Auburn, all the way into Montgomery. Just very vital, and the jobs there are producing good money for Alabama citizens to have a check to spend and help the economy grow, and so we're very grateful for those jobs and what it means to us, and we want to see that industry expand. Not only in the automobile industry, but there's a lot of other industries in Korea that could come here, and we could partner with a lot of those industries that we're looking forward to helping recruit here, because I think we've proven the one thing to the Korean business leaders, that Alabamians will work, will be productive, and will be good citizens, and will help them make a world-class product just as the Hyundai automobile has done. We have a workforce who will work. We have a workforce that are trainable, and they're certainly committed, and we have a state that's committed to realizing how important jobs are, and so the state steps up and does all we can to entice industry in, and we have one of the best workforce development programs in the world, where if you come to Alabama and start a plant, we will help train your workers, so when they walk into your plant, they're trained to become productive members of your team immediately. You don't have to spend a lot of time training and making sure they're going to work and make sure they meet all the requirements. The state of Alabama does that for you. So workforce development, a great climate, low-cost energy, and a great trainable workforce makes us very amenable to Korea. And of course, we've reached out to the Koreans and have been good friends with the Koreans all the time. And our military has been very supportive of your military, and we've trained together. So we just have a very close relationship. We look at South Korea and the U and Alabama is like a sister country and a sister state, and very close friends. Well, we think AKEEP is just one of the greatest things we've got going. It's one of the things that we're involved in that doesn't cost the state any money. But what it does, it allows us a cultural change to begin that foundation between our young people and young people in Korea, and it lets them intermingle, become friends, and build that relationship that a lot of kids in my district would never have had that opportunity without AKEEP. They've been able to travel on an airplane, they've been able to go to Korea and spend time, enjoy the culture, eat their food, and become friends. And now they're Facebook friends and email friends for life, and so that's a very important thing. Plus we're building a cultural connection that we never would have had. And of course we're bringing the Korean students here, and they had an enjoyable, they just left last month and had a very enjoyable trip here, and Ms. Misan and I had the opportunities of hosting them here in Montgomery and had them at the Capitol, and the Lieutenant Governor has really bought into our program. But it's just such a great program to have a cultural exchange that nothing else is out there. And because we are so closely connected, because of the industry and all, it's very appropriate that we begin to see how the cultures of the two countries can work together. Well, I would say that to the Korean communities that we in Alabama certainly have a great deal of respect and admiration for what you do, how well you're committed to the culture of work and the ethics you bring to this country, and the fact that we're very closely connected as friends, and we certainly want to continue to promote that friendship and develop that rapport with you, continue to help us create jobs and help us to improve our economy as we help you to improve yours.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.